This is a Lloyd Deflison production of Pointing Dogs on the Canadian Prairie. And this is Ed Mack Farrier's Colored Helper releasing a dog. Now, I don't have too much. The dog has pointed a chicken.
Bird chicken.
The handler is trying to flush the chicken. There it went. It's they're teaching a dog to honor the other dog's point. The dog is pointing a chicken in what they call a bluff, which is a poplar grove in Canada, where the chicken move into as the day warms up. And as the day warms up, the chicken move in the shade, which makes it easier for the dog to point the bird. But there's so many birds. Now that was Astra, a futurity winner, and Lee was handling a dog for Morton then. What was his name? Oh, Henry Lee, yeah, was Clyde Morton's helper. And that dog is Astra, a futurity winner. She will point as she comes to this little bluff. A very stylish little bitch. When they get warm, the colored helper checks them for speargrass and waters them, then release them again. This is another one of Morton's dogs. And this particular picture was taken to show the stride of a dog. Now that's from, can I mutter to myself?
If you wish.
No, I can't see. I believe that's Ariel. Like that, I can't tell with that.
Same thing.
Now this is one of the great dogs of all time, a triple national champion. Ariel. And that is Clyde petting the dog when we picked him up.
Ron Masters.
And myself congratulating Mr. Morton. And these girls took over the dog wagon from Morton's colored helper. I can't remember his name. He was a great guy. And at noon, Mrs. Morton would bring a lunch to the people who had been working dogs. And I mean, she knew how to fry that southern fried chicken. And that is Mrs. Morton with a tie, and Mr. Deathlison lying down, and his wife, and Celeste, my wife, and me. They hid me. That is Clyde Morton. Little camera shy. We're about 10 dog trainers in this area, and we'd go back and forth to run dogs with each other. And that was the lovely ladies that produced the lunch. Is that a...
I don't know which one was it.
Oh, I can't tell.
Really stylish.
That is Mr. Morton and Ariel. And that's Ariel, Luminary is a black dog, and Morpheus. Most of Mr. Sage's dogs were named from stars, heavenly stars. They're trying to flush the bird. And that was my friend Deathson, who was a court reporter in Merced, California, holding the 3 greatest dogs of all time. And that is Henry Lee putting one in the dog wagon. And that is me, Mr. Ron, roading the dog to condition them.
What was that?
That was, I signed Tim, and I don't remember that one. That is one of Mr. Ed Farrier's dog. Lacking in a little style. I'm sure that, yeah,
Mack.
the dog wagon was Eddie Mack Farrior, who you see here. That was San Juan Buck he had. The picture we have out.
Yeah.
Ed Mack is trying to flush the birds, and he's training the dog to be steady to shot.
That's a female.
Ed Mack had rope collars on most of his.
Mm-hmm.
And,
It's male.
and the colored helper turning this dog loose was named Arthur, who was one of the great scouts. My wife and Mrs. Defterson driving Ed Mack's dog wagon. And that is Arthur. That is Pete Marker in back, one of the West Coast dog trainers. That is Ed Mack Farrior. And a litter of puppies of Mr. Farrior.
Setter.
I can't see. The setter is backing. The setter wasn't very steady. That is Todd Dove. Now that is Jack Harper, one of the great trainers, one of the lesser trainers. Where's
Texas Ranger.
that's a bitch.
Are there birds?
The dog in the rear was a Texas Ranger. the first, that is Todd Texas Ranger was one of the first winner of 10 championships. His call name was Jimmy. Mhm. Jack went into a filling station one day, and old Jimmy was all muddy, and the attendant said, "Mr. Harper, I wouldn't let that dog ride in the back of that new Cadillac." Jack says, "This car belongs to little Jimmy," and that is Texas Ranger Pointy. And that's one of Todd Dove's pointers. I know his name
Oak
too.
Creek?
Mm-mm.
Not Oak Creek.
No. That is a Texas Ranger retrieving bird that he went a quarter of a mile to retrieve. That is our helpers fixing an evening meal. At that time, we had no commercial dog foods in Canada. We had to cook their food every day. Bob and Junior, the little curly-headed boy, he could shoot a prairie chicken with a .22 rifle flying. Well,
Yeah.